Boom. What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at one. I've reviewed a beer from this brewery before, probably back when I first started doing reviews, and it's been a minute since I've had another beer from this brewery, and I'm kind of excited, just because this brewery kind of focuses on more on like the sour kind of end. They definitely don't do your like everyday IPAs and all that stuff. They rarely like specializing in more fruited style beers, which I'm always a big fan of because I'm a big fan of fruits. So today we're going to be taking a look at another one from Urban Artifact over in Cincinnati, Ohio. I believe it's Cincinnati, yeah. And we got the double paperweight from them this afternoon. It's a weird looking can. Obviously it's kind of flushing the whitewash kind of situation, but it has some very weird, like almost kind of water pastel kind of paint kind of look to it. But it's a weird kind of it's weird can art. This is a apricot double Midwest fruit tart, and it comes in at a 10% ABV. So I'm expecting, I don't know what exactly that makes a Midwest like tart ale different than any other kind of tart ale or like a fruited sour, but I'm going to try to see if I can distinguish that for you guys. But with this thing being a 10% and just being straightly apricot, I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued by this one, just because I love really heavily fruited beers. I think it just makes the whole overall variety of different beers out available just that much better, because if you're a big fan of like having more fruit flavors in your beer, there's plenty of different stuff out there for you to have a great drinking experience with. And Urban Artifact is a really cool kind of concept how they do things, especially since they're located in downtown, like right out of downtown Cincinnati, and they're actually located in an old church, which I think is really cool. And what they do is their tap room is like on the lower level of the church, and then I think that they brew in where the brewery is. It's actually in a building right behind the actual church itself, and the church is actually used as a music venue as well. So it's like they took over an old church that wasn't being used anymore, made a brewery out of it, made a tap room slash. Oh, yeah, it's probably what it was. Kentucky. It's probably because it made the Midwest, so they have to kind of put their own little kind of swing on it. But I'm excited to drink this thing, and having a fruited kind of sour or like a fruited beer being a 10% as well. That's going to be very interesting, because I'm curious if I'm going to taste any booziness to it. I think there's like a very minimal IBU rating to it, so that means it was slightly hopped to kind of help maybe add a little bit of bitterness to it. So I'm excited. So without further ado, let's crack this guy open and see what this thing's all about. Let's see what we get on the smell of this thing. Oh yeah. You can definitely tell this one's going to be a tart one for sure. Just straight up tart apricot in your face. That's exactly what I'm guessing. It's probably going to be a pretty, with it, they can considering like a double fruited kind of beer. I'm expecting this to be thick, kind of like have a more of like a smoothie like mouthfeel, or just like have a really thick kind of creamy consistency. But yeah, I'm excited. Drink it on my deciduous beer little sour glass I like to use, and let's see how this thing pours. I'm expecting a lot of like just thick and heavy, like orangish yellow to it. So let's see. Oh yeah. Holy crap. I can feel how heavy this is coming out of the freaking can. It's definitely a high gravity beer, if you say so myself. Oh yeah, look at that. It looks like you're drinking a fucking smoothie. Nice amount of carbonation coming through. Like a kind of like almost a light yellow white head to it. But just look how thick that is. That is looking absolutely delicious. Still getting a lot of that tart apricot coming up front. I don't know if I'm going to get any like subtle like creaminess or sweetness. I don't think they add any lactose to this whatsoever. But I'm excited just for a nice kind of creamy mouthfeel, just because it's heavily fruited, so it's not going to have that more of like it might have a bubbly effervescence to it, but it seems like just by how it looks in the glass, it's definitely going to have like more heavier kind of thick mouthfeel. So without further ado, let's give this guy a try. So cheers everybody. Happy Friday. Oh yeah, right off the bat, nice and tart with apricot. Definitely has like that very thick and heavy mouthfeel, like how I would probably describe some of like the ones from the Brain series or the Chunk series from Drecker, stuff that I experienced from like some of those heavy fruited Berliner Weisses from 903. Has that same kind of mouthfeel. Has that the apricot is actually a lot lighter on the mouth. It hits you right up front, but then it kind of gets settled away really quick. This is definitely a beer that the flavor doesn't linger on the mouth a long time, which is very interesting for this heavy and this kind of style of beer. You would expect something that would coat the mouth and kind of leave that lingering flavor in your mouth for a long time. This one doesn't really do that. But overall, the upfront straight apricot tartness is absolutely delicious. Definitely has the really nice. It's not to the point where I can feel it in my eyes or my kind of like my jawline a little bit of the tartness. It's just a very, very right up front tartness that you get from it. Overall, yeah, it's absolutely delicious. Doesn't really linger. I guess like a slight maybe like barley kind of wheat kind of thing at the end that you would experience out of like that kind of style of beer. But overall, yeah, that's pretty delicious. I'm enjoying this one. So let's see what Untapped that's a show for similar beers. If you're not able to get your hands on anything from Urban Artifact, I'd be very surprised because they ship pretty much all over the East Coast. Let's see, they ship directly to Connecticut, DC, Ohio, Virginia, New Hampshire, the New England area, I believe. Let's see, Vermont, North Dakota, NV, and OR. So that's weird. So they definitely direct shipping. So if you want to order some beer from them online, this one isn't available on their website right now. But if you want to go over to their website, it shows right on their website where they can ship to. So if that's anywhere in your area, you can possibly get some beers from Urban Artifact shipped directly to you, which I think is a pretty cool situation. Because I know there's a few people in here who really like those heavily fruited beers. Kentucky, I'm talking about you as well. I'm not sure about UK shipping, McTavish. It's having a lot of breweries kind of ship to the UK. It's definitely, I haven't really seen a lot of breweries that do that. The one thing that I can recommend to you is what I think is a cool thing. There's a lot of breweries now that have put kind of a name out of themselves within the States to where they've got distributors over in the UK and all like different like countries in Europe and all that kind of stuff, to where they are getting the distribution out there so they can have their beers available everywhere else around the country. I know breweries like Adroit Theory having their stuff available in countries like Australia and all that stuff. Something that comes out of Percival, Virginia, going all the way to Australia, which I think is a really, really cool thing. So you might be able to find some stuff from Urban Artifact. So I would suggest possibly checking out your local bottle shop and see if they have anything that's a U.S. that distributes beer from the U.S. and maybe, because when you go to your liquor store or bottle shop, you can talk to the people that does the ordering and be like, I've heard about this brewery. Can you see if your distributor carries anything that comes out of the U.S.? They'll most likely look for you. If there's anything that people are demanding when it comes to stuff that normally isn't available by you and they could possibly get their hands on it, if it's going to be something that's going to make them money and that's not usually in their realm of forte of stuff that they would carry, they're going to attempt it because they will want to pick up like stuff that's going to make them money. It's just obvious kind of running a storefront kind of situation. You want to pick up stuff that will sell. And it makes sense to pick up stuff that normally isn't brewed in your area or not even in your country to have available in your shop. So it's a very, very good possibility that Urban Artifact may be over in the UK somewhere sometime, just because I know they're pretty widely distributed. I've heard of their names pretty well before. Ooh. That tartness, though. Wow. That was a weird kind of feeling. So, let's see. That tartness kind of grabbed me in the throat for a sec. Or it almost kind of went down the wrong pipe. Who knows? But let's look at some similar beers that Untapped has on there. So if you can't get your hands on anything from Urban Artifact, you might be able to try some other... Woo! What the hell? That's weird. So we got 3 beers from the brewery called The Answer. So we got the Quad Mother of Moreno, which I think is their mango marshmallow fruited beer. I'm not sure if it actually says no ABV on it, which I'm assuming that's probably wrong. Let's see, we got a frozen strawberry daiquiri version from The Answer, which comes in at 3%. And then we got the frozen peach strawberry white chocolate from The Answer, which on tap it says no ABV as well, which is weird. But then we got one from Wonderland Brewery, which I think this name is in Spanish, so I'm not going to attempt to do it. But it's a 6.5%. It's a fruit beer. So, and of course, then finally we got orange juice from Tired Hands Brewing, which I'm assuming Why is it? I'm curious why it's showing a lot of beers with no ABV as similar beers. That's weird. But kind of being my suggestion for something that's going to bring out the same amount of tartness, even though it doesn't show an ABV on it, I would try the orange juice from Tired Hands. Who knows? That might be something that would be in that wheelhouse. I'm just being similar. There's going to be a tartness to it. There's going to be like a citrusiness because I feel like that there's kind of like almost an apricot brings off a little bit of a citrusy tartness to it. But overall, it's absolutely delicious. I'm a big fan of this one. So let's look back here on Untappd and see what some of the ratings are in this one. So like I said before, it's a 10% ABV with 10 IBUs, so very, very low hoppy bitterness to it, which I don't really taste any hoppy bitterness to all. And with over 383 ratings, this one has an average rating of 4.18 out of 5, which is pretty damn good for only having that many ratings. So you could definitely tell with the high ABV and the amount of like fruit they put in this one is pretty outstanding. Pretty outstanding. So let's see what people rated. This guy picked it off to Tavor like I did, gave it a 4 out of 5. This guy gave it a 4.25 out of 5. Let's see, a 3. Let's see, another 2. This guy said it was extremely bland, which is definitely an interesting thing because there's nothing bland about this. It's exactly what I'm looking for when it comes to like a nice tart fruited beer. And I think they nailed it on the head with this one. It's absolutely delicious. If you're a fan of apricot, you're going to absolutely love this thing. Let's see, we got a 3.75. Another 3.75 purchase off Tavor. 3.75, 4. 4.25. 4.25 saying quite nice. 4, 4.5, 3.75. So yeah, it's from the recent check-ins, it's showing that a little bit. It's a little bit all over the place, but overall, the experience that people are getting out of this is pretty damn solid. Pretty damn solid. So let's start thinking about what we're gonna be doing for ratings on this one. Since I talked a little about everything else, drank some of the beer, time to kind of break everything else down. Pour the rest of this into the glass. Cutting it close, there's definitely a lot of, oh yeah, right at the end, there's definitely a lot of that sediment sitting at the bottom, the puree that's going in there. Oh yeah, that looks absolutely delicious. Oh yeah, this is definitely, I would definitely put this in the realm of like a smoothie style beer. So it's like, it's definitely reminds me of the ones you would get from Drecker and 903, those thick, heavy, like, this definitely has the same mouthfeel as the ones from like the Brain series and all that kind of stuff, or maybe some stuff you see from like breweries you normally can't go get. You have to do like the online kind of pick up stuff from like Energy City, 450 North. I know there's one called Out of Stock, I think it is, where it's like kind of like a dog on there that they specialize in those like heavy, thick smoothie style beers, which yeah, they nailed on the head with this one, trying to experiment with this kind of style. So let's look at can art. This can art is interesting. I really like the colors to it. There's definitely a lot of pink and like the pink and orange kind of tones in there. The drawing is just very, very odd because I'm not sure if that's a golem, if that's supposed to be an apricot. I'm not sure. But I really like the colors. It's very, very unique. Definitely something that makes it kind of stand out if you saw it in a liquor store or bottle shop. Just because if you saw it from a distance, you'd be like, wow, that's weird as hell. And look at it. And they put the details in there. There's a bunch of books. There's the kind of the planet, the spinning planet, but actually there's a smiley face on there. Let's see what other details they put into there. A lot of the books, there's, let's see, on one of the books it says beer on the side, so they actually looks like they took some of the time to put a little bit extra detail into this can art, which I think is really cool, because like one book says yeast. What else does it say? One says fruit. One says origin, apricot. Let's see. Yeah, I'm really happy with this can art, to be honest. It's definitely showing that there's a lot of detail into this thing. Like, especially seeing little things that are showing up on the books themselves, which is something you normally see. People don't put many details into that one. And having that, like, a weird golem on there, I think is just a nice touch. So, easy for being unique, for being something that they show a lot of detail, took advantage of almost all of the real estate on the can art. Easy 4.5 out of 5 for me. Just because I like weird when it comes to can art. I love stuff that isn't in the ordinary realm of things. That's why I'm such a fan of stuff from like Anchorage or Adroit Theory, to where their stuff's just crazy on there. It's very, very unique, very, very a lot of detail into their can arts. And that's something I'm always a big fan of, because that's the start of your beer experience with that specific beer. Your first experience with it isn't just by cracking it open and drinking it. It's when you see it at the liquor store or a bottle shop, seeing the art, and the overall experience of it starts right there, which you want to have a good experience from the beginning, because it's going to affect how your drinking experience is going to be as well. If you can have a shitty can art but also be delicious, that can always be something. Or you drink something to where the can art looks great but it doesn't taste that good. There's a lot of different things that can factor into it. So can art, 4.5 out of 5. Really, really big fan of it. And let's see, if I got this beer in a flight, if let's say Urban Artifact had this on tap at one point, which with this being this heavy, I'm not sure if they would have been able to keg it. That's why it's like, I'm very surprised if you see stuff from like Drecker and all that stuff, all their beers, when they do like their fruited sours, their fruited Berliner Weisses, they're most likely getting it fed right from the tank itself. It's a weird one, because kegging this kind of style of beer is going to be difficult, because the moment you keg it and have it sit, it's going to be all that freaking heavy fruit is going to start sitting right at the bottom, and it's going to be really difficult to freaking keg properly. So I don't see this one being kegged. That's why you see a lot of this style of beer going from being brewed all the way to the canning line right away, just so the least amount of time for stuff to sit and all the heaviness of the fruit and the sediment to kind of sit to the bottom. You want that to be done as quick as possible before that starts happening. So having this one in a flight, they most likely will take it out of the can and then pour it into a flight glass to have that experience for you. But if I had this in a flight with them doing that, would I get another one? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're, like I said, if you're a fan of apricot, you're going to absolutely love this thing. Absolutely love it, because it hits every mark of almost to a point where it's a citrusy kind of tartness. It's definitely really, really tart. I wouldn't say really, really tart. I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5 for a tartness. There's, with that kind of like higher ABV in there, you don't really taste the booziness at all. But it definitely lets you know that it's a higher ABV, just because, like when you saw me drink it earlier, the tartness kicked in and that kind of higher ABV kind of grabbed onto my throat a little bit. And it was weird, because tartness and high ABV is definitely something you don't see a lot of when it comes to like a fruited style, which I think is a very, very unique take on it, and I absolutely really enjoy this. Absolutely enjoy it. So for my final rating, let's see. Very, very solid. I'm going to give it a solid 8.25 out of 10. Really, really delicious. If you can get your hands on anything from Urban Artifact when it comes to their heavy style of heavy fruited beers, with this being my first experience, I could definitely see things being good for them. So if you have the opportunity to pick up anything from Urban Artifact, if you're a fan of heavy fruited beers, you're going to definitely enjoy your experience from them. This is my first experience with that, even though the other beer I've had from them is when I first started reviewing it. It was a pickle beer, their Christmas pickle. Definitely that one was unique because I didn't like it or didn't hate it. But these guys know what they're doing over there, which I'm really happy to say. And this is absolutely delicious. So if you can get your hands on their stuff, do it. If you can get your hands on this double paperweight and you like heavy fruited stuff, you're going to really, really love this. Absolutely fantastic. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much it, what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. Also, if you're new to the channel, like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live do another review. I got a review set up for you guys for tomorrow, so keep it out for that. I don't think I'll have one on Sunday because I'm going to be busy. So tomorrow might be the last one for that few days because I got busy Sunday, and then I'm going into work Monday and Tuesday doing some brewing stuff. So don't expect anything, but I'll probably be back around maybe mid-end of week for reviews next week, so keep an eye out for those. But other than that, that is what I have for you guys today. So if you want to pick up anything from Urban Artifact, if it's not available to you in your area, always going to recommend getting on Tavour because they're on Tavour, and I know it's a very iffy if that service will ship to you, just because it's a lot. They don't use actual UPS or FedEx for shipping. They use small carrier services. So all you have to do is when you create an account, You can let me know. I'll send you like a referral code kind of situation, like a referral link to where you'll get free $10 worth of beer, to where you can spend $10 on any kind of beer that comes up if it's available to you, and I get a free $10. So it's like we're both winners. And then you can either do it like a subscription-based thing to where you get random beers per month, or you could build your own box and they ship it to you at the end of the month. And that's exactly what I do. And it's a great platform, over 7,000. I think even growing over 7,000 now, probably being around 8,000, probably getting close to that. But yeah, it's a fantastic service. And if you're using Tavour, you always got to make sure you're getting yourself over to Untappd. It's a great kind of social media platform when it comes to beer drinking. You could see people like me, Ian, Wintucky, Duchess is over there, Lee, Not the Real, Gerard Butler, the Typhon, Sean and Lizzie themselves, the Angry Hippies, a bunch of people over there. And who knows, we might even see McTavish. Are you over on Untappd at all? If you are, put your name to your profile in the chat. I'm curious, because we can get some more friends going on Untappd. It's a great like kind of beer drinking platform. You can check in beers, get badges, all that kind of fun stuff. It's really, really cool. You can either download it on Android, Apple, or you can even use their actual website and do stuff. But if you have an account, McTavish, put your name to your account in the chat, and let's get some more friend requests for you so you can see what other people are drinking. And I want to see what you're drinking as well. But other than that, that is what I have for you guys today. So I'm going to end it like I always end it before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see you all next time, people. Cheers.